You know what I hate? Open world games. So many games just end up being pointlessly open world, and sometimes they even lie about being a truly open world game. It's never good to hear that a game is going into open world, because most of the time they're just bad. Most experimental open world games are all just the same. An empty map with side quests and enemy camps. But what if there was a game that took all of these mechanics and executed them perfectly? A game that took the leap into open world and stuck the landing so well that it became the most successful game in its franchise. A game that was overshadowed by releases like Death Stranding, Sekiro, Resident Evil 2, and Pokemon. But there is a game like that. Metro Exodus. Metro Exodus, and by an extension Metro itself, is one of the most slept-on shooters I've ever seen. These games took survival horror into first person so well that it is criminal how unsuccessful they are compared to games like Resident Evil. It only got nominated for one Game of the Year award, even though it is the most emotional, interesting, immersive, well-crafted open-world game I have ever seen. This is alongside risks like Pokemon Arceus and Kirby and the Forgotten Land for this franchise. It's not perfect, Metro never was, but it's pretty dang close for how experimental it is. So let's break this underappreciated masterpiece down. Now if you played the first two Metro games, there's one thing you will notice immediately playing this game. The visual upgrades. Everything looks so much more realistic. The lighting has been overhauled, and the characters are much more realistic and expressive. The only downside being that Anna lost her jawline. It's not just the graphics that got an overhaul though, the animations look so much better. From the reloading to the unjamming to simple tasks of recharging gear and putting on your gas mask, Artyom is moving snappier than ever before. The visual style leans more into that makeshift feel of everything, my favorite example being the Open Reflex sight. Compare the Metro Redux Open Reflex sight to the Metro Exodus Reflex sight, you can just tell how much thought was put into the style of Exodus. Not only does this game look better, but it also sounds better. The audio upgrade is crazy. This is some eargasm level sound design. Obviously going from 2014 to 2019 sound is an upgrade, especially since Metro Redux wasn't a huge upgrade from Metro 2010 and 2013. Some of the gun sounds are just so crisp. Just listen to how much different the AK sounds. Or the Shambler. And even the Mark Rober rifle. Okay, honestly, it still sounds like a wet fart. Even the sound of things like the enemies and coughing and the vehicles is just so much better than the originals. Speaking of vehicles, the vehicle sections are hands down one of the best parts of Metro 2033 and Last Light. Especially the armored trolley in Metro 2033 that immediately gave me Half-Life 2 flashbacks. Metro Exodus fits perfectly with having vehicles because traversal is always such a difficult thing to perfect in an open world game. You get boats in the first and the fourth level, and a car for the third level. The car is definitely the best, and it fits really well with the desert setting that you get for that area. With all these new traversal mechanics and this jump to open world, you can see one of the first successes of Metro Exodus. Filling out your map with places to check out in Metro Exodus is pretty simple. You take out your binoculars, listen for the click, and zoom in to mark it as a point of interest. It's a nice feature because if you don't know whether or not something is good enough to mark on your map, the click knows exactly what's worth checking out. You also have a compass like you did in Metro Redux, which can sometimes be helpful if you're confused. These areas can range from houses to enemy bases to monster dens, and you definitely want to check them out. Why? Resources. You know what that means? Crafting. I'll give it to 4A though. This is the first time I've seen crafting done well in a non-survival game. It's a very simple and organized process. You go to a workbench or open your backpack and you spend resources to craft things. You only have 2 resources, metal and chemicals. Nice and simple. You can only craft certain things at a workbench, so you have to stock up on them while you can. You can make bullets, medkits, fix your gas mask, make throwables, and apply upgrades to your gear. You can find these upgrades around the world and apply one to each category of upgrade. These upgrades go from simple things like a brighter flashlight to metal and motion detectors. These upgrades aren't just for your gear. You also have some classic Metro weapon customization, and boy is it better than ever. In Metro Redux, you couldn't really upgrade your guns past sights and barrels for the most part. In Metro Exodus, you can change pretty much every aspect of a gun. The weapons all start off a little weaker than they usually would be, and it kinda kills some of the weapon variety. I think it's definitely a worthy trade-off for what we get. You can change the grip, magazine, sight, barrel, and laser sight of a gun. This is all done through the crafting menu, and upgrades can be stripped off your enemies' guns once they're dead. The overhauled upgrade system adds so much more variety to Metro Exodus, allowing people to mold their guns to their liking, even more than they could in Metro Redux. When it comes to the gunplay, there isn't much to be said that hasn't been said in my other Metro videos, but some weapons were changed or affected by the overhaul of customization. The revolver isn't as good as it was in Metro Redux, but some weapons like the AK are a lot better. Other than that, it's classic Metro gunplay. The open world setting makes every encounter feel more unique, even though some are more unique than others. In Metro Redux, you could only carry 3 guns, and that was the only restriction. In Metro Exodus, you have 2 guns and 1 special weapon.
Rifle. Ring any bells? It's pneumatic, but it still packs a wallop.
There are only 2 special weapons, the Mark Rober rifle and the crossbow. A little disappointing after I talked so much about variety, but it could be worse. These guns also have extra ammo types. Fire bullets for the Mark Rober rifle, and explosive bolts for the crossbow. The fire bullets are the best ammo in the game, and I never use the explosive bolts. The best part about the crossbow and Mark Rober rifle is that they're silent. The stealth in Metro Exodus isn't really different from the previous games, but that just means it's still good. You can still turn off lights and punch people in the head. You also get some new toys like the distraction can.
What? A fucking can? Hey.
You still have your silencers, but you also get some more agency with the open world areas, giving you more options to approach your enemies. Now before I get into the best part of this game, and Metro overall, I need to talk about my issues with this game. First big issue was definitely performance. Now I had a whole section on performance issues, but I just forgot to read. It turns out if you play the PC Enhanced Edition like me, you need a specific brand of GPU. I didn't have either of the specified brands, so that was probably the issue. The other issue was the lack of companions. Having an NPC accompany you was pretty common in the previous games, but in this game you almost never do. And it was kinda sad since the best parts of Metro Redux were when you were with your comrades. I can see why they decided to do this, especially since it wouldn't make much sense in the open world levels. And only in the final mission do you get even like 30 minutes just walking with Miller. But these are just minor issues for a near perfect game. And now for the best part of Metro Exodus and Metro as a series. The immersion.
Chimp, are you seeing this? I'm not just imagining things.
For action. And even better. Just like the others. Just don't kill me. Remember what I told you. There was an explosion. Everyone gets it's our strongest. Remember what I told you.
Metro has always been immersive, but Metro Exodus takes it to the next level. Using your map, crafting, charging gear, reloading, mapping the area, it all has an animation and physical reaction to go with it. Artyom only talks in the ending and the loading screen, so you never have to listen to him tell you what to do. But where Metro Exodus excels is adding immersion to the story. You have a ton of choices throughout the levels, which can impact what happens at the end of the level and the game. NPCs act differently depending on how you've played throughout the level.
Will you just look at what the cat dragged in?
A heretic!
Which just adds so much depth to these interactions. Now when I played, I got the good ending for 2 out of 3 levels and the game overall, which is a nice change of pace from my playthrough of Metro Redux, where I got the bad ending both times. I think the immersion really peaked at the end. I'll try not to spoil it, but you know how like when in a movie something bad happens and someone's driving and they're like just stone face staring ahead without even blinking? I was doing that. I have never played a game that hit me this hard. Overall, Metro Exodus is simultaneously a perfect Metro and open world game, bringing together amazing gunplay, story, characters.
I bet if we spend a week there, it won't just cure Anna. It'll make Colonel grow his feet back.
and immersion into one of the best campaign shooters I have ever played. Metro has been cemented into my brain as one of my favorite shooters, and I personally can't wait to see what 4A is cooking up for the next game. The best part of Metro Exodus is that it wasn't just another Metro game. They pushed the boundaries of what a Metro game could be. I hope the developers that do this can inspire others to do the same. I rate Metro Exodus 4 generic open world games out of 5.